The issue of injustice against Igbo and the Biafran freedom is getting more attention as the world powers are waking up. Ndị by Daloli Nenu. Here bụ Eastern News 24. Ka isi wene wetara ya bụ ozi. Unu jege enu ugbu a n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ya bụ ife na-eme n'obodo nọ n'ime ya. And nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ n'iru akwụkwọ. Nwanne nwoke wetara ya ozi n'ụbọchị nke taa. According to the activist, the Biafran activist, as he quote, the USA President Donald Trump dropped Bombshell support Biafra as Nigerian government slap with USA visa ban that sees country exposed. Here the news in details. Nwanne m nwoke biko gee ntị ya bụ ọkwa dị oke mkpa ka baro ka ị gee ya bụ ife nwanne wetara anyị n'ụbọchị nketa. Very interested message and update. Dịka ihe gị ya biko react ya n'iru akwụkwọ gbasara maka ihe ndị a niile okwu. Over to you, sir.
That have been restricted to America. Today, I want to say kudos to Donald Trump. You see what is happening in Africa? The so-called country they call the giant of Africa. Today, look at what is happening. They went all the way to Kenya to kidnap a British citizen. It means they colluded with Britain to kidnap their citizen. Until this day, Britain is pretending not to know what's going on. They went all the way to collaborate with Finland, with the law, the contract, through the agencies of Finland, to give them oil and gas in a bid to blackmail their own brother, a black Finnish citizen in the name of Simon Ekpa, His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Biafra. Nigeria did the unthinkable by going to Finland to partner with them, lure them, cajole them, entice them, give them a carrot and a stick approach. Give us Simon Ekpa, give us the head of Simon Ekpa, and the oil and gas is yours. Give us the head of Simon Ekpa, and your agencies can come around to build us things in Nigeria. The contract is yours. We are doing it with Norway. Last year, Norway made $1.6 billion doing business in Nigeria. So Finland, all we ask of you is the head of Simon Ekpa. And unfortunately, the one that Simon Ekpa thought was his friend, President Alex Nestor, a man who in his heydays, 15 years ago, he was the best friend of Simon Ekpa. Throughout his whole campaigns, he was campaigning through and through, from Lati down to Helsinki, about his party, and Simon Ekpa was there with him. I keep telling you, Biafrans living in diaspora, those living in diaspora, the white man is not your friend. I'm sorry. I will call a spade a spade. Your slave master can never be your friend. They are just your colleagues at work. See them as a business client. You are transacting with them. They are working with you in the same office because of the contract and the so-called principle of equality and all those nonsense they put on paper. The Equality Act of 2010 says you must respect somebody or people despite their ethnicity, their gender, and the rest of them. So that they are smiling with you in your office, don't assume that they are your friend. Today, our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa is paying the price because he assumed that Finland will stick to the policies of Finland, the rules. When they say that they believe in the rule of law and everybody is equal under the law, he assumed that they were speaking about black people, not knowing that Finland will change like the weather. In the snap of a finger, Finland changed. And today, Finland is now doing business with Nigeria. The same thing we blamed Britain for. We all condemn Britain. We call them these slave masters, the colonizers. They came to enslave us. We were not slaves when they came. We were free people. We were free people living in land, but they came to enslave us. And after a couple of hundreds of years, they came back to colonize us. But some of you only see Britain as your colonial masters, and you blame and hate on them. But today, Finland has done worse than Britain. They have done worse than Britain. Hence, we all called on America, God's own country. We called on the President of America, President Donald John Trump, to intercede, to come to the aid of the Biafrans, come to the aid of the Christians that live in that so-called Nigeria, a country that Donald Trump knows very well. He tagged them, he named them and described them as a shithole country, a shithole country. So we called upon him to hurry to the aid of the Biafrans, and we are glad that today as we speak, Nigeria is one of the 36 countries with a visa ban to Nigeria or to America. Let them remain in that shithole called Nigeria. Let the politicians remain in that zoo. Let them eat, loot, steal the money, and rot and die in that zoo called Nigeria. They have no business hanging around in the League of Nations in a country like America, God's own country. So today, with the Biafrans, we must rejoice. We must give thanks to God that America is listening. The same way they support Britain, or the same way they support Israel, our distant relatives, America has come to the aid of the Biafrans. And today, our persecutor, our number one persecutor, Nigeria, is now facing a visa ban in that zoo. Nigeria, today, the end of Nigeria has come. Today is the beginning of the end, the dissolution of that zoo called Nigeria. Fellow Biafrans, without any much further ado, I want to take you to the media. Let us hear what the media is saying. Some of the African countries around the world. I want to see their own perspective, their own psychology on how they relate to this news of Trump dropping the bomb today, which is Sunday, the 15th of June. So if you're ready, follow me in this one. Let us listen to what they are saying, our African countries. Because sometimes that's what I do. I want to test the pulse of Africa. I want to understand their psychology. I want to relate to the way they perceive news coming from America. I know in that zoo called Nigeria, they don't care about it. All they want to do is Islamize us and take over the land. They don't care about information or international news. They are dumb to it. All they want to do is hate on the Biafrans, kill us, steal from our land, and come with tribalism. So I want to hear from the international media. Let me hear what they are saying about this ban on some African countries as well, including Nigeria. If you're ready, let's go there. Listen.
Africans from 10 countries are now banned from traveling to the United States, or they face stricter travel restrictions. Somalis, Sudanese and Libyans have all been here before. They were banned in 2017 by President Donald Trump. So, how are the new restrictions affecting African countries? Well, 8 years ago, Trump's travel ban that targeted 7 Muslim-majority countries was met with protest. But there's been a somewhat muted response to the current travel ban that has been imposed on more African countries. So, which countries have been affected by the travel ban and why? Let's take a look. Now, out of the 12 countries globally, citizens of Equatorial Guinea, Chad, Eritrea, Republic of Congo, Sudan, Somalia and Libya have all been barred from entering the United States. But officials say those with the U.S. visas issued before June 9th will not be revoked. Nonetheless, Chadian President Mahamat Idris has responded by suspending visas for Americans. Sierra Leoneans, Burundians and Tongolese nationals face partial restrictions, so they will not be allowed to enter America with certain visas. Sierra Leone officials say they are willing to address the Trump's administration concerns.
We are committed to ensuring that we work together with the U.S. government to address these issues, because as a country, we would love to see our citizens not suffer restrictions and travel bans, and that they can travel freely across the world once they meet the criteria that are set.
Now, the United States says the travel restrictions have been imposed to address U.S. national security and terrorism concerns. Foreign nationals overstaying their visas, as well as governments refusing to take back citizens flagged for deportation and inadequate vetting. In Somalia, news that they've been banned from traveling to the U.S. has been received with widespread disappointment, as Rahul Radhakrishnan reports.
Hassan thought his luck had turned when he won the U.S. green card lottery. It was a ticket for him and his family to leave Somalia for a better life. But the U.S. president's sweeping new travel ban has barred Somalis and citizens from 11 other countries from entering the U.S.
I am deeply sorry and angry about Trump's announcement to ban certain African countries, including Somalia, from traveling to the U.S. This ban has particularly affected my family since we won the lottery.
Donald Trump says his new policy is necessary for national security, but it's widely seen as a reenactment of his controversial 2017 ban targeting Muslim-majority countries.
Thank you very much for saying that. We want to get them out. We want to get them out now. We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country, but using the word bad, I'm being nice.
Not everyone thinks that's the case.
I urge Mr. Trump to reconsider this decision. Somalis are good people. We are not bad as he believes. His mindset is clouded by bitterness towards Somalis. Yet there are individuals in America who are far worse than us.
And it's had knock-on effects on travel agents and booking agencies, like the one Abdi works at. Especially so because the U.S. is home to a large Somali diaspora.
We usually sell tickets for people traveling to the US, but many of our customers were absent today. I believe this is due to the ban's effects. There are even customers who have visas but are still affected by the ban.
But the travel ban is now in effect. And Somali government officials say they are willing to talk with the US to resolve any issues they may have. Rahul Radhakrishnan, Africa Matters.
Opposing U.S. students' visa applications has raised fears of additional screening and limited interview appointments. Now, the country ranks 7th globally when it comes to sending international students in the U.S., with more than 20,000 enrolled in American universities last year. That's according to the 2024 Open Doors report. But this growing academic migration also appears to have stalled, as Palum David tells us more from the capital, Abuja.
This young lady doesn't want to be seen on camera because she fears it could affect her chances of getting a US visa. Zara, which is not her real name, was to join a US university in September.
I've already paid my acceptance fee. That's $1,000. And I'm already preparing to go, working on my transcripts. I've already paid the amount I'm supposed to pay.
Zara is one of the many Nigerian students caught in limbo following a pause in U.S. student visa appointment this month for vetting purposes.
I'm not going to go to US to cause trouble, to stoke chaos, to carry placards. I just want to study my course in peace.
Deborah Agbo is also due to resume classes in the U.S. in August. She's choosing a different approach.
When it's time for me to go, I'll go. When it's time for me to go for my interview, first of all, I'll go, and then I'll get my papers. There'll be no... I just kept encouraging myself, so I've been optimistic since then.
As the U.S. government moves ahead with stricter visa screening processes, the future of thousands of Nigerian students remains uncertain, while national security concerns are cited as the reason. The decision's ripple effects are already being felt across the wider educational landscape.
At SUAV Consulting, education consultants are advising students to consider options beyond the U.S.
If you're not able to get to if the US does not start before September, which is when school starts, the other countries you can go to, you can try if you really want to get foreign education. We still have the Canada, we still have the UK, we still have other European countries as well.
But for other consultants like Sonia Akigbe, years of working with aspiring students who intend studying in the US has shown a different struggle.
From paying the visa fee, from paying the service fee, from paying the application fee, taking our time to do all the documentation, clean documentation, and at the end of the day, the student don't get the visa. It's crazy. So I pray that this social media vetting is going to make all the effort easy.
All that can cost over $700. There are more than 50,000 African students currently in U.S. colleges and universities, with Nigerians leading the continent by contributing over 20,000 students. In a statement to TRT World, the U.S. State Department emphasized that obtaining a visa is a privilege, not a right, adding that prohibiting entry to the United States by those who might pose a threat is key to protecting U.S. citizens. And students and exchange program applicants may continue to apply and must be fully truthful when they do so. No previously scheduled appointments have been cancelled. For now, students with no other alternatives and who haven't secured an interview date will have to continue monitoring the system and waiting. Palum David, Africa Matters, Abuja.
More than 20,000 enrolled in American universities
Listen.
last year. That's according to the 2024 Open Doors report.
Listen.
But this growing academic migration also appears to have stalled, as Palum David tells us more from the capital, Abuja.
Listen.
This young lady doesn't want to be seen on camera because she fears it could affect her chances of getting a U.S. visa.
Hold it there. This young lady doesn't want to be seen on camera because she assumes it will affect her chances of getting a visa. Well, it is clear that from the African continent, they are still yet to get updated with the real info. That damnable republic called Nigeria is now part of the countries that have been sanctioned by America. So sometimes you must understand, even at least, they are catching up. African media, the other ones, they're catching up. But Nigeria is still pretending not to know what's going on. But respect to Sahara TV, Sahara Report, they tried their best. They got the memo. They got the memo. We know this has been brewing up for a while in America. The stakeholders, the critical stakeholders, they have sat down with America, told them the reason why a country like Nigeria should be part of, in fact, should be number one on the list. A place where the Christians are killed in an ozone, as if there is a war against the Christians. Even the death toll in Russia and Ukraine is not equal to the amount of Christians being killed every year in Nigeria. It means there is a jihad going on the Christians and the Biafrans living in that zoo called Nigeria. So, they are still sleeping. But as we say, one day, you will sleep in Nigeria and wake up in Biafra. So when they wake up from the slumber, they will see that zoo called Nigeria is now part of the 36 countries being sanctioned by Britain or America. By America. Fellow Biafrans, I will leave it here because sometimes they say enough, or a word is enough for the wise. I don't care about those who are trying to come with empathy. Oh, we are students. We want to go and study abroad. I have paid my deposit. I have paid $1,000. I don't want to show my face. I am scared it will affect the visa outcome. How will showing your face affect your visa outcome? It means you've got something to hide. The same way in the court case of Nnamdi Kanu, the so-called witnesses, they are hiding their faces. Only in Nigeria. I don't want to show my face on camera. It will affect my visa to America. In the courts, the DSS, we don't want to show our faces. We are scared of our life, but we shall testify against Nnamdi Kanu. Fellow Biafrans, the die is cast. This is the beginning of the end. Biafra is here, and I am glad that Donald Trump has listened to us. He has come to the aid of the people of Biafra, the children of the rising sun, and we are glad that we can still have a friend in America. Before I wrap this one up, I want to call on the President of America, Donald John Trump. President Trump, it is clear that the trajectory of Nigeria is going to a position now where we are looking at Nigeria being Islamized in the next 5 years. In America, they said that Nigeria within the year, or from now, between the year 1930, that Nigeria will implode, that there will be nothing else called Nigeria. The scholars, the philosophers of America, they have, predicted this. President Trump, I want you to know that what they said is right. But when you look at the things on the ground right now, certain people have been able to expose the Fulani jihadists in Nigeria, their intention to make sure that they Islamize Nigeria. So now they are coming on a new front. What they are doing now is through their so-called politics. They have now what they call the Muslim ticket. It means the president is a Muslim, the vice president is a Muslim. They now have the partnership where a country like Saudi Arabia, through the Islamic Bank, a cartel, a consortium, a conglomerate of Islamist terrorist jihadists coming together to put their funds and loan the so-called funds to Nigeria. Today, as we speak, the gas from Biafra land is being piped all the way to Morocco, an Islamic country, where the proceeds from the gas will be sold to Europe. This is the advent of the Muslim ticket that happened in Nigeria in 2023. The Islamists, they have come to take over Nigeria. Saudi Arabia is behind it. And today, as we speak, Sharia law is now something that has come to stay in Nigeria. President Trump, I want you to know that Sharia law, which is one of the tenets of Islam, it is now in practice in the southwest that we know as the Yoruba land, the land of Oduduwa. Those who claim they are the most educated in Nigeria, those who claim they've gone through the four walls of higher institutions, higher learning, universities, and the likes. They claim they are the best when it comes to education and the rest of them. But unfortunately, somehow they have allowed their politicians, their greedy politicians, foreigners who came amongst them and could speak their language, and in the name of politics, they assume they are one of them. They claim them because they speak their language. Islamists who came out amongst them today, they've opened up the borders of the Yoruba land, and Sharia, the Fulani killer headsmen, terrorists, people like Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, Lakurawa, they are all in Yoruba land as we speak. Sharia law is waxing strong. The people are helpless because they can't speak about it. When they speak about it, their politicians come and say, oh no, do not speak on it. It's politics. Blame the Biafrans. The Biafrans are the problem. President Donald J. Trump, I want you to know that in Biafra land as we speak today, those they call the governors of the southeastern region, part of the Biafra land, they are now in bed with the caliphate. They've somehow allowed themselves to be used, cajoled, towards paying homage to the caliphate. That's when they want to become governors, senators. They have to go to the land of the north, to the Muslim land in the north, to strip naked, to bow down, to prostrate, to swear an oath with the caliphate, to do a blood oath with the caliphate, to protect and preserve Islam in Biafra land. And when they take this oath, they make them governors, senators, politicians. Now their hands are tied. They can do nothing to speak out for the people of Biafra. Also, to the President of America, President Donald J. Trump, I want you to know that the media of Nigeria has been compromised. They work hand in hand with the Islamic government of Nigeria. They are not free, but they pretend to be free because they know when they speak out, their license will be revoked, their TV stations shut down, and the owner sent to jail. President Donald J. Trump, Nigeria is officially a failed country. America must not wait until the year 2030 to take action. The time is now. The urgency of now. This is a time to rise up and do what is right. The only ally you have right now in Nigerian contraption are the Biafrans. The only people that despise jihadism, hardcore Islamism, and the rest of them are the Biafrans. Because we are Christians by nature, and also we believe in the African tradition. So we are calling upon you to be a friend of Biafra. The same way you've been for so many years. The same way America has been for us, the Biafrans. We are calling upon you to be a friend. Come to the aid of the Biafrans. America, God's own country, the land of the free, the land of the brave. We are calling upon you. We thank you for taking this bold step, for doing what is right, for placing Nigeria in a list of banned countries to travel into America. That's the first step. But more has to be done, because right now as we speak, we are helpless. Our leader Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya, brought to Nigeria through an extraordinary rendition. Our Prime Minister was called into questioning in Finland, and for the past 8 months he's still been held incommunicado in Finland. Finland is so-called Western country. Finland, who is always the champion when it comes to human rights, when it comes to the rule of law, respecting, observing, and upholding the rule of law. Finland, oh Finland. Finland, oh Finland. What a shame, what a disgrace. Hence, at this point, the only people we can call upon is America, God's own country. So as I wrap this one up, I want to say to the President of Finland, we thank you. We appreciate you, because you are doing a great job. We know your intentions are good. We know there will be some casualties, those who claim they are going to study in America. But in the bigger picture, in the bigger things, in the lost pictures, those things they cannot see, behind the scene, at the back end, we understand why you are doing what you're doing. Because you know terrorism is coming to America. I will leave it here, fellow Biafrans. As also, before I wrap it up, I want to thank our Deputy Prime Minister, Her Excellency Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for the great job she's doing. Madam, please ignore the naysayers. Those who say they are taking Biafra to court. They are taking the USB government to court. Very, very strange. Not only that, they place the names of everyone in the cabinet of USB to court. That tells you their mission is to quench and end Biafra. In the days of Ojukwu, in the days of Uwazurike, in the days of Nnamdi Kanu, in this timeline of Simon Ekpa and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, nobody has taken anyone to court. Not a successor or a predecessor. But today, a man like Oge Nkere has been allowed, he's allowed himself to be used by the politicians from Southeast. Their first plan was to shut down Biafra, the redeclaration of Biafra, but they failed. But now the second plan is to find a way to go to court and shut us down. With the use of, unfortunately, a white man in America. There's the problem. They are not your friends. They can be your colleagues, they can work with you, but don't call them brothers. It's all about the interest. It's all about mutual interest. They are not your friends. Today as we speak, Nnamdi Kanu is in court. Today as we speak, Mazi Simon Ekpa is in court. And today as we speak, our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze has been taken to court. What does that tell you? Biafrans, what does that tell you? Read in between the lines and you will see the hands of Nigeria. Read in between the lines of these three lay leaders being taken to court, and you will understand those who are responsible. Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya. They kidnapped him first, brought him to Nigeria, took him to court. For 5 years, he's still there. Simon Ekpa was speaking for the liberation of his people, and Nigeria, they colluded with Finland. Held him under terrorism charges for 8 months, and today he's in court. Our Deputy Prime Minister was able to redeclare Biafra on the 29th of November, 2025 or 2024. But again, those within the cabinet, they planned with some Westerners to take the United States of Biafra to court. Not just the Deputy Prime Minister, but everyone in the cabinet. So what's their intention? To shut down Biafra. Hence, I call upon us to make sure we fight. We must be resolute and focused in the job we do. The time to fight for Biafra, for your liberation, is now. I want all hands on deck. Biafrans, do what is right and support our leaders.
Ozodiki Biabo, Iabo Eastern 24, Kaisi when you bozi, you know, one you do. Ekefunu wali kubasta makia bifenda nina wete luno. Drop pora feature no dinkegi na Eastern 24 baba sio no bozi do kemba. Ngban kembe sia no munnem.